What's up, guys? My name is JDCut5 and welcome to the Bayern Munich versus Chelsea review after Chelsea making their comeback back into Champions League, unfortunately ending in a 3-1 defeat. Before we do get this video, if potentially you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification button so you never miss a video, that would be much appreciated. Bayern Munich 3, Chelsea 1. Not the most ideal to start the Champions League campaign, it has to be said, but in some ways I can't feel that disheartened. A result like this would normally feel like you've been absolutely thumped, but in other ways I think there's better ways to look at it and there's a long way to go. Chelsea started fairly strong in my opinion. I feel like we had a decent amount of possession, creating opportunities here and there, nothing special, but at the same time it didn't look like that we was lost within the game. It was just moments where we made mistakes and mishaps on passes and so on. Obviously, the retake on the free kick was really strange. Ball gets whipped into the area and you find yourselves obviously trying to clear the ball. It goes obviously past João Pedro, past Cucurella, past Tosin and hits the knee of Chalobah. And it's just one of those. Unfortunately I didn't edit the minutes on the bottom, so it was the first goal that was scored by Trevor Chalobah and an own goal. And then later on Harry Kane managed to win a penalty after being taken down by Caicedo. It's an evident penalty, doesn't really get the ball. It's somewhat soft in terms of the kind of the body in front of the man. I feel like he kind of runs into him, knows he's going to get the penalty, but at the end of the day, it's a penalty, and it's as simple as converts, send Sanchez the wrong way, and you're 2-0 down. But it didn't take too long for Cole Palmer to get himself into the game after a lovely attacking run. It looked to be that we was going to concede a third in the first half, in fairness, but a really good, decent bit of tackling from Caicedo managed to find Cole Palmer, and off he went with Malo Gusto on the right-hand side, partnering himself, making a lovely 1-2 and a nestled finish into the back of the net, putting Chelsea in at half-time, 2-1 down. In that point in time, you don't feel too hard done by, you're still in the game and so on, but I think we came out fast, but we just didn't really seem to create enough to really kind of poise the threat and so on, and that was the issue. And unfortunately, in the 63rd minute, Malo Gusto made a terrible mistake after Robert Sanchez making a flurry of decent saves. It didn't seem to be that was going to do any favours for ourselves in the game after Malo Gusto got the ball played by him by Trevor Chalobah, it was on the right-hand side, goes to play it back into the middle of the park and just doesn't really seem to connect with it whatsoever and falls to Harry Kane's feet, and that was unfortunately a simple but effective finish, and that's that. Cole Palmer was disallowed a goal where it was offside, a lovely finish nevertheless, but he was offside in that moment in time. But yeah, I'm not going to go into stats, I'm not going to go into details, I'm not going to pick people out. It's just not worth it at this point in stage of the actual campaign itself. At the end of the day, we've got 8 games to play, and that obviously at the start, and now we are down to 7. So in fairness, we have still got a fair while until anything really in terms of worry and so on. Yes, we've got big games. I'd say the 2 other massive games in this particular campaign would be Napoli and Barcelona, but I feel like it's a campaign that we can still finish strong. The only thing I do not miss is the UEFA referees and officials. Absolutely terrible man management from the referee today. Not to say that would alter any sort of result, but there was definitely moments where even Elise made 2 fouls in 1 minute but didn't seem to find himself in the book until the latter parts of the second half. But that will be that. The UEFA referees and officials have always been poor, and we know what that's like being on the back end of it. But it's something to put at the back of our minds because we have a massive game against Manchester United at Old Trafford, and then we've got a game against Lincoln literally in the week after, and then we play on the Saturday as well against Brighton Hove Albion. So a lot to think about, a lot of moments obviously where we're going to obviously find ourselves needed to sharpen up and get better, but good performances by Cole Palmer today. I thought when Santos came on, he looked sharp, and he obviously could have got an assist if it wasn't to be for an offside. Defensively, we didn't look too poor. It was just the mistakes that we made. Midfield obviously wasn't, I wouldn't say Enzo was that special, but more Caicedo in fairness. It was just one of those, it was individual mistakes that cost us today, and that's what happens sometimes within football. This was the lineup that Enzo Maresca started with, a very defensive lineup in fairness. Robert Sanchez in goal, and I thought he played a blinder in fairness. 3 mistakes, 3 goals, not from his part whatsoever, and I feel like when needed and called upon, he was there. Nothing he could have done about each and every goal, and a really, really good performance nevertheless. Cucurella looked slightly out of his depth today. Elise was pulling him apart, and he was doing really well to be able to tear him apart and really kind of create moments and moves on him. Felt like he struggled with physicality, and it felt like he dragged himself way too kind of more forward, and he just couldn't seem to be able to kind of track himself back, and that inverted role really kind of played a part in that today. Tosin and Chalobah. Tosin made some good moments, and obviously Chalobah probably a day to forget for himself. Not exactly in so much of the performance, but more just because of the own goal. Malagusto was good up until the mistake, in my opinion. I was praising his performance until he made that mistake, and unfortunately that lays a very dark shadow on that particular moment because of that. James and Caicedo was in the middle. I still don't know how I feel about that, in fairness. I just don't think James is a midfielder, and that's me. I feel like he's best suited on the right hand side with Enzo and Caicedo pairing in the middle, and there was definitely options that we could have played, but that was the role that he wanted to kind of lay out within this particular formation. Palmer, Enzo and Neto partnered as the attacking kind of lot. I think Neto does a lot on the ball, but he didn't really seem to be able to create enough. Palmer was just doing Palmer things at the end of the day. He was just sublime. Really good moments. Some moments where he gave the ball away, but I felt like he had a very, very good game nonetheless. Enzo Fernandez was sort of lost in that attacking position, and it's very kind of hard to establish if he is an attacking midfielder or more of a defensive midfielder. That is very hard to say. And up front, João Pedro, and not really the best game in a Chelsea shirt, that is for sure. But I'm not going to be negative, going to be positive throughout all of this, and we will see what happens in the next one. As I mentioned, Manchester United away at Old Trafford, and until then, it will be another video. But as I mentioned, that please hit that like button, please hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.